Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Welcome, kindreds. It's Jessica, the Story Witch, and I've already bought a deck in 2017. It was this one which has been on my wish list for a little while now, the Celestial Tarot. It's arrived, so I thought I would open it up and go through it for you guys so you can have a look at all the cards. I'm going to show all the cards. I'm going to try and make sure that they can all be seen properly. So if you're considering this deck, then you'll be able to have a really good look at the cards, and also talk a little bit about why I chose this deck and why I'm keen to start working with it. So here, I've flipped the camera around so you can see this a lot better. This is the Celestial Tarot. This is the box that it came in. I know this is not a new deck. Obviously, it's been out a good few years, but it's new to me. So I thought I would share a walkthrough of this. I was really drawn to it because I am really interested in the connections between astrology and tarot. I'm not an astrologer by any means, but I do use astrology quite a lot in my own I do refer to astrology a lot in my own personal kind of practice, and I do sometimes do charts and things for other people, but not so often. So this is the box. It's just like a little flimsy card box. In fact, you know, I knew what I was getting. This is not an expensive deck by any means. I think it was actually reduced on Amazon when I bought it, so I think like £10.50 or something like that. So it's not, I wasn't expecting it to be, you know, like an amazing quality deck. That said, it's not a bad quality deck. It's a US game system, so the card stock is pretty decent. I've definitely felt a lot worse. I took the cellophane off before I did this because I wanted, it gets on my nerves, all that kind of picking of cellophane. But apart from that, I haven't actually been through this yet. It comes with a little white book, just, you know, kind of very bog standard little white book. A little title card. And then a little bit about it. The Celestial Tarot by Kay Stevenson, creator of the Celestial Tarot deck, is a professional artist and astrologer living in Melbourne, Australia. And Brian Clark, author of the Celestial Tarot booklet, is an international lecturer, writer and educator in the disciplines of astrology and mythology. And I have followed both of these online for a little while, and I like reading some of their astrology articles and things, so that was one of the other reasons why I kind of trusted their judgment as well with this deck, because I've seen some decks which have astrological correspondences and it doesn't actually match up to how I kind of understand the correspondences. So I'm hopeful, and I'm not just hopeful, I'm pretty certain that this deck is going to be kind of accurate is the wrong kind of word, you know, but their interpretation of it, I trust their interpretation of it. It says, embedded in our night sky are archetypal images, symbols and stories that have enchanted the human soul for aeons. Onto this sky's sanctuary, the ancients projected their imagination, using star patterns to animate their myths and immortalize their deities and heroes. Celestial Tarot fuses the myths, symbols, and astronomy of the planets, signs, constellations, and fixed stars with astrological divination to reveal the mysteries of the tarot in an engaging and unique way. Celestial Tarot is both a handbook of the heavens and an oracular guide to the inner life. I need to put my teeth in. So, got the symbols here as well, some of the astrological symbols of the signs and planets and things like that. And the backs is just quite simple stars. And here we go. So major arcana first. I'm trying to kind of hold them up so you can see really clearly what they are. So we've got the Fool, which is Uranus, which is, oh yeah, and look, we've got the symbols and things here, symbols of Aquarius. Yeah, so that's really cool actually. It's got a lot of the symbology of the myths and things as well, which was one of the other reasons why I was drawn to this deck as well, is that it has got those kind of story associations with the astrological links as well. It's not just a purely kind of astronomy type deck. It is a kind of mythic and the stories as well, so you can look up the stories to kind of understand it more, a little bit like in the Mythic Tarot, which is another one that I bought last year, which I'm really enjoying using. There's also quite a lot of stuff kind of hidden in here as well. I can see a Tree of Life hidden in amongst there. I'm sure these cards are the kind of cards, if you keep referring back to them, you will find more and more. You know, this is already picking out constellations, it looks to me, as well on here. So It's really interesting. So that's the Fool, Uranus, which makes sense, you know, as the kind of like dissolver and starter of things. And then we have the Magician, Mercury, along with his symbols, and the caduceus and all the kind of things you would expect, the winged helmet. Look, and the Mercury symbol around his neck as well. Yeah, and the planets that he rules, or she. I think, like, obviously in the mythology he is a he, but I see Mercury and Hermes, well, definitely Hermes, very much more in a kind of he, she, hermaphroditic kind of way. And then the Moon, the High Priestess, which is not surprising that she is the Moon. Again, trees of life popping up on these cards. Venus, the Empress, naturally. Yeah. And yeah, look, it's got the planets that they rule. So we've got Libra and Taurus on there. Obviously Venus as well. I'm loving the symbolism actually of this. And the way I think that they are actually plotting out kind of the planets as well and the constellations around. Okay, so the Emperor is Aries, the god of war. Okay, so we've got a Mars symbol on there as well, so that's obviously connecting him very much with Mars too, which makes sense as the ruler, the ruling planet. Yeah, like a bird. What is that he's wearing around his neck? Looks like a golden fleece, doesn't it? And that also makes sense with the symbols and the story. So far I'm loving this deck. One of the things that I knew that I was going to feel a little bit yuck about is that I'm not a big lover of these kind of blue borders. I've seen, oh maybe I haven't seen, maybe it wasn't this one. I think it was a spiral tarot actually, which I've seen somebody trim, which is similar kind of artwork to this, and it looked amazing. But I'm not convinced at the moment. Well, they would be very small, and also cutting off those connections I think would make it difficult for me to really, I'd need to work with this a lot more to kind of make sure I know them all off by heart before I would do that. Oh look, and the Hierophant is Taurus. Taurus is my moon sign, and I initially as a child I didn't connect with it very much. For me, it was on the anaretic degree between Taurus and Gemini, and my sun sign is Gemini, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally a double Gemini. But actually, as I've grown older, I've come to appreciate more and more that kind of earthy power of Taurus. I wonder who that maiden is in the book. I'll have to look up some of these because I'm sure these are all actually people from stories. And then we've got Gemini, the lovers. So yeah, we're working our way through the zodiac, but not in a linear through the signs way, which is interesting. So yeah, so Gemini, the lovers. Beautiful. That's a gorgeous card. Love the colours and the use of the butterfly imagery on their cloaks. And we've got Mercury in there. Cancer, the Chariot, which some people find an odd connection with Cancer being the Chariot, because people see the Chariot as being that very kind of active and progressive, you know, kind of almost forceful, and people see Cancer as being you know, not everyone, but sometimes people see Cancer as that being, you know, that kind of passive, motherly. But actually, as a cardinal sign and as a Cancer is a force to be reckoned with. You know, it's not no way passive in a kind of archetypal sense I can kind of deal with, but it's that divine feminine energy, that sort of so much power in the depths, you know. And we've got, you know, the symbols associated, and there's even the Chariot here, look, in the kind of stars. We've got a wolf there in the background, and the stars being picked out again, Tree of Life. Lots of things on this card connecting. So I think these cards are going to have so much. I don't know how much of this symbolism is going to be in the book. I hope a lot, but it may be. I'm not sure if there is a bigger book for this that you can buy. Perhaps it will be something I need to look into a bit further. It was kind of like an on the whim purchase for me because I'd seen that it was reduced and I'd been thinking about it, and so I just went for it, which is unusual for me because I normally dither for ages before buying decks. So Leo, strength, which is not, you know, with the lion, that would be what you would expect. Virgo, the hermit. Again, a sign that it's got the kind of more conventional hermit shadowed in the background here. This looks to me like Demeter, or perhaps Corey, maybe it is the daughter. You know, that kind of the delivering of the grain, and these grains are likely to be the kind of seeds of the wisdom that she's gained from being in her hibernation, kind of, I suppose, you know, like kind of hermit, taking yourself off away from the world and meditating on things. Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune. Jupiter. And also that kind of threat of you don't want to kind of get on the wrong side. Jupiter, also Zeus. And then we have Libra, Justice. Libra is my rising sign, so this is another card that I was interested to see. Yeah. Again. Yeah, so it's got Venus, and it's also got the elements associated with them. So it's got the elemental symbols on these as well, which is really cool. The Hanged Man, Neptune. God of the sea. Under the waves. Interesting with the horse on there, an actual horse, not a seahorse, although it is obviously a seahorse. And the trident, and there is the kind of hanged man. So I've noticed that it's been popping up on quite a few of them, hasn't it? It's got the actual, not the actual, it's got the kind of like Rider-Waite depictions kind of hidden within the artwork of the cards. And then we have Scorpio, death. Wow, and there's a phoenix here and a scorpion. Really love that one. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous card. Amazing death card. It really has that possibility of death being necessarily, you know, is necessary in order for new birth to come, new life to be brought in. We need to clear space. Yeah, wow, I love that. Sagittarius, temperance. And there's the picture of temperance. I was looking for it with the 2 cups from Rider-Waite in the background. There's also some other like shady, more strange things in these backgrounds, these cards. It seems like so much in this artwork that I'm going to enjoy diving into and finding more out about. Capricorn for the devil. Okay. Wow. Yeah. And look here, he's just got a little tree of life slung over his shoulder. Interesting. Really interesting. And then Mars, the tower. And you can see it all kind of coming crashing down in a very quick way, which is what we would expect with a tower card. It's interesting having people on all of them as well. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, having all of the people with their stories, I think definitely does add layers of meaning. I'd want to really understand those backstories as well when I'm going to start reading with these cards. Like with all decks, I'll start using it just for me first of all. And then Aquarius, the star. This is my daughter's sign and also my sister's. Lots of things embedded in here. Look at the jewels coming out of the gifts of the jewels being poured out for the world. And Aquarians are like that, you know, they really want to improve the world and do it by sharing this gorgeous wisdom that not everyone always appreciates. And Pisces for the moon. So the moon was the high priestess, and obviously these are all kind of connected back to each other as well. And then we've got Pisces, which is in the major arcana for the moon. And we got the 2. Wow, yeah, and the moon. Love it. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous card as well. And then sun, the sun, straight up. And you've got the symbols for Leo and things, and the elemental symbols for fire and stuff. You know, all those things that you would associate with that. Okay, so Pluto as judgment. There. With all the associated... Oh, look, and he's holding those gems that the star, the Aquarian star, was sharing down. It's like he's judging the gifts, the things that people have shared. That's really interesting. Being that kind of god of the underworld. Okay, so Saturn, the world. Wow. We've even got like some alchemical symbols on here, which is really interesting. I'm going to dive more deeply into that definitely as well. Saturn, Kronos, the world. Wow. That's really interesting. My card for this year is the world from a numerological point of view, and Saturn is, I'm sure you will have heard this, you know, is very dominant now for a kind of 18-month period, covering all of 2018 and into 2019. And it's going to be a kind of time of putting things in order and right. And it's funny because like I wouldn't initially have associated Saturn with that kind of dancer of the world. I wonder if she's there. Is she there dancing anywhere? The zodiac is there. But it's that kind of that practical sense as well, and also being time, you know, that kind of beginnings and endings of Saturn as well. And then into the minors. And each of these are also associated with I suppose with more minor constellations and things. So we have Cassiopeia as Ace of Wands, Cetus, 2 of Wands. I'm going to have to refresh my memory of all of these stories, which is going to be really good fun. Perseus, 3 of Wands. And still, you know, with the other symbols associated, so with Aries and with Jupiter, you know, we've got those links back still. And the wands are these little sticks, so you can kind of see that as well. So, you know, I think maybe I could cope with it being trimmed eventually once I've remembered exactly who's who. Hydra, 4 of Wands. Crater, 5 of Wands. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through these, otherwise this video is going to be really long. Corvus, 6 of Wands, and we've got the crow there. Lyra, 7 of Wands. I went to see Philip Pullman talking about his new books which go back to that world of Lyra. The new book is The Belle Sauvage, and he said that the name, it sounded like a nice name, and I wondered, does he know about the constellation? I'm sure such a kind of well-read guy as him, I don't think that was an accidental thing. I think he was definitely pulling in that kind of that mythology as well with her name. Ara, 8 of Wands. And we got a Sagittarius symbol, Mars symbol in there too. Draco. Yeah, a lot of authors do pull on the mythology for their writing, as I like to do myself as well in my work. Sometimes the words just kind of come, the names just come, and that is very, you know, it is really meaningful. I love it then when you then look it up and go, yes, that is definitely the right name. Thank you for that. Thank you, Goddess, for that. So the quartz, I'd seen this on somebody else's video, are a little bit different in that they have like princess, prince, queen and king. But the princesses are all the seasons, and the princes are all the mutables, the queens are all the fixed, and then the kings are all the cardinals, which kind of pisses me off a little bit because I don't see why the cardinal energy would be the male energy necessarily. So, but I guess they kind of had to associate them with something, so that is how they've chosen to do it. Yeah, and then we got mutable fire, the Prince of Wands, fixed fire, and cardinal fire. So we've still got our characters from myth and things here. Aquila. So we're into the Pentacles now. I'm trying to go a little bit faster because I'm conscious this video is getting really long. So if you're just interested in looking at the cards, hopefully you have had a good look at them. I am going to go all the way through. I'm not going to stop halfway through, but I'm not going to literally talk about every single card like I was doing, because I've realised that is not really workable. I'm really happy though about this deck. I'm really glad I bought it. Really excited to dive in. Oh wow, look at that. Wow. It's my lovely earthy Taurus there on the Ten of Pentacles. Gorgeous. And then yeah, so the Princess of Pentacles then is spring. Which is strange actually, because I would have taken her as earth. Well, yeah, okay. So yeah, it's just kind of the different systems, the different ways of associating things. So, and then we have mutable earth, fixed earth, oh, and cardinal earth, Capricorn energy there. And then we're into swords. Corona. So not every single one of them has a human image on them, because obviously not all of the constellations and things have human associations. But quite a lot of these cards have people. Although looking at these swords, that's interesting that nearly all of the swords were animals rather than people. Really interesting. Princess of Swords is winter. Yeah, in like my personal thing, I associate air more with spring, so that's an interesting kind of choice there that I'm sure is explained. And then we're into our aces, and we have animals again here. We're going through the, oh, but not just animals, we got boats and things as well. I hope these are kind of clear to be seen. And then we've got some of our heroes. And I guess the stories for all of these, I know some of the stories, but not all of these. And I guess the stories are going to associate also with the meaning. So when you know the stories behind the cards, like with Mythic Tarot, like I was saying, you're going to have a more kind of in-depth understanding of the, okay, and so cups, that's autumn, okay. Yeah, I guess the stories are going to feed very much into the understanding of the card. So that is the Celestial Tarot. A little book. I'm just going to see kind of like roughly what is in here. It's got a little bit about the introduction. Similar to ancient traditions, the tarot has two mystery initiations. The 22 cards of the major arcana represent the greater mysteries, the encounters with the archetypal forces that underpin life. The 12 signs of the zodiac and the 10 planets of the astrological pantheon represent the daemons presiding over each stage of the journey. Other symbols depicted on the major arcana are listed at the right. So they do tell you what all the symbols are, so that is quite cool, and you'll be able to look up those different symbols. Although I don't think that was all of the symbols that are on there. Okay, so each of them have just got a kind of shortish thing. Let's read the High Priestess. The inner mysteries of moon. Selene, or Selena, the original Greek goddess of the moon, is the surrogate of the High Priestess. Rising out of the ocean, Selene yoked her shimmering horses to her chariot and drove it across the night sky, mesmerizing Earth in the gentle glow of her moonlight. As half veiled, the goddess is inviting us into her mysteries, responding to our urge to be engaged in her reverie and to unveil the truth. In the background is the shadow of the traditional high priestess, who carries the essence of goddess wisdom from all cultures. On an oracular level, the high priestess invites us to be more aware of symbols and signs, feeling responses, bodily aches and pains, emotional reactions and mood swings in general, the inner life. The veil that conceals the other world lifts to reveal its mystery. Okay, so even though it's short, there is quite a lot of good stuff there, and it does name check the characters on the card, so you could then go and do some more digging about those. And then in the minors, it has got, okay, so it's got what they are. It's also got the astrological harmonic or mode, which is what the it's, well, you know, conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, you know, is those relationships between the two planets. And then it's got a list of all of the things. Oh, okay, so it's got a lot of stuff on there actually, which is cool. Yeah, and it does tell a little bit of the stories on each of the cards, so that's really, really cool. So I'll be able to kind of dive in. The ones I didn't know, I'll be able to go into a little bit further, which is good. Yeah, so it does that for each of the suits. Is there anything else then at the back, or is that it? Let's see. Oh, it's just got a spread, it's got a Celtic cross, using Celestial Tarot, just a little bit about that on the back. So yeah, so that pretty much is it really then. Not a huge amount of information in there, but enough, I think, to be able to get my teeth into and be able to look up the stories, which was what I was really interested in. So that is Celestial Tarot. Let me know what you think down below, whether it's a deck that interests you. The blue, I mean, just looking at it like that now, I'm like, oh, those blue borders are pretty foul. It would be much nicer if it was borderless, I think, but it would be pretty small then. My hands are quite small, and it is, you know, it's like the US Games kind of standard smallish size of deck, so it would be quite small. But maybe, because, you know, we have got the symbols on there as a kind of heads up, so it's something that I would think about possibly trimming anyway. So perhaps in the future, maybe I'll do a walkthrough of that if I ever do it. It'll be in, oh gosh, years probably. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that has been interesting. If you would like to see some of my other tarot videos, I have made like a tarot section on my front page of my channel, so you can kind of skip straight to those if that is the stuff that you're interested in. Or if you're interested in witchiness in general, then you can subscribe to my channel. You'll be able to get the updates when I'm posting new videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Warmest blessings. I will see you very soon.